a 35-year-old female, had the divorce papers sitting in a folder on my computer for 3 months. I had convinced myself that my marriage was no longer a sanctuary, but a graveyard of what used to be. I was living with a man who felt like a ghost, a shadow who drifted in and out of our home at the edges of the night, never looking me in the eye, never reaching for my hand. I was so sure he was done. I was sure he was just waiting for my illness to finish me off, or for me to finally get the hint and leave so he could start a life with someone who wasn't broken. But tonight, the truth didn't just walk through the door. It fell to its knees. You have to understand, I've been fighting this condition for years. It's a thief. It started by stealing my career, then my strength, and finally, my sense of self. I became a patient before I was a wife. The only hope I have is a specialized treatment, a procedure so expensive it felt like a cruel joke, a miracle tucked behind a glass wall I couldn't break. We didn't have the money. We didn't even have a path to the money. It was a mountain I knew we couldn't climb. And while I was drowning in the fear, he just disappeared. For the last 6 months, my husband became a stranger. He'd leave before the sun was even a thought and crawl back into the house at 2 a.m. He stopped eating dinner with me. He stopped sitting on the porch to watch the sunset. But it wasn't just the absence, it was the way he returned. He'd come through the door late, avoiding the light, smelling of heavy, salt-stained sweat and raw physical exertion. To me, it wasn't the smell of hard work. It was the smell of a man who had been somewhere he shouldn't be. I imagined him in the heat of someone else's arms, someone healthy, someone who didn't have a pharmacy on her nightstand, someone who wasn't tarnished goods. I thought he was staying away because he couldn't stand the sight of a wife who was costing him every cent he made. Tonight, when the door clicked open at 1:05 a.m., I didn't stay in bed. I met him in the hallway, the harsh light of the overhead bulb exposing the mess I had become. I didn't let him put down his bag. I poured out every ounce of hurt I'd been hoarding. I yelled until my chest ached. I told him I couldn't stand the smell of his lies anymore. I told him to go back to her, to go to the life he was building in the dark, and to stop coming back here just to play a role he clearly hated. I told him I was done being his burden.